what do y'all think specifically around the perception of boss bitches, right? Are they looked at unfairly?
I don't think her ambition should be a threat, unless your ego is a little fragile.
If you want a man to drive your bus, get out of the driver's seat. How about that?
When a woman submits, you're already doing it. If she's not, then that's probably not the person for you.
If a woman's very disagreeable, it's not that she's just a boss chick. She don't like you like that.
We all know people who are just disagreeable. They think that their way is the only way, but yet you want a man strong enough to wrestle that from you. Why should he have to do that? Men are saying that some of y'all boss bitches are too much man for them. You know what I'm saying? You're like, he's not man enough for me. Bitch, you're too much man for me. Like, what's going on? That's what dudes are saying in the clip that we saw. There was one clip where the dude was like, how can women make space for a man when they become the man they want? Or something like that, right? And the wonderful sister had an opportunity to kind of explain that, hey, sometimes women who are male-driven feel sometimes can't turn it down when they get to the crib, okay? So the question I posed to my esteemed panel, right, when it comes to boss bitches, because remember, not every bitch is a bad, not every bitch is a bad bitch, that's true, but also is a boss. So what do y'all think specifically around the perception of boss bitches, right? Are they looked at unfairly? Is it possible that men are sitting there making assumptions that these women, because they're successful in their fields, can't be soft, can't be feminine at home? Is it an unfair assumption? Or is it in fact true that unfortunately women are displaying skills or, traits that make men feel like, there's too much man here already, I'm good? What are y'all thoughts about that?
I'll jump off the mic. So I'm just going to say this. I think that sometimes first off, I think we need to stop calling a confident woman masculine just because she's confident and has purpose and know what her purpose is and she's driven to fulfill that purpose. I don't think that equals masculine energy or her being the man that she wanted to date because she chose to live within and strive within her purpose. And so that's the first thing. Like, let's stop that. Let's stop calling confidence masculine or because she consider herself a boss bitch masculine. Now, I'm not taking away from the fact that sometimes these boss bitches don't know how to turn it off when they get home. Not taking away from that because sometimes she may be in the boardroom, the boss, and want to be the boss in the bedroom. Some men may not like that, but other men may. So I think that we're doing a disservice when we're saying, oh, boss bitches are too masculine and whatnot. I don't think her ambition should be a threat, unless your ego is a little fragile. And then I can see why her being a boss bitch would be considered a threat to you. So I think that in the end, though, women, we can be soft. And I think that because we can be soft, it just takes the right person to bring the softness out. Because naturally, we want to submit. We just need to submit to the right one.
Once again, S&M is gaslighting everyone in the room with her first thing about just because you're confident doesn't mean that you can't be confident and you're going to be masculine. Whatever. You can be confident and be a human being. That is not a gender masculine, feminine thing. When we talk about masculinity and we talk about femininity, we're talking about dominance. We're talking about setting the tone, setting the agenda for the relationship and for what's going to happen, setting the vision and making sure that vision is followed through. Those are the masculine aspects that men find some women have a hard time giving up in terms of the finances, in terms of the planning of whether it be for vacations or for future things. It's hard for some women to give over the reins because they want someone to wrestle it from them. And we ain't got time for all of that. If you can't recognize the leadership in the dude and hand him the reins, then he's not the right dude. And man, if you fighting that lady for control, that's a whole different conversation. So you can't be too bossed up. You can, because you can go to your job and be a boss. My wife at her job is a boss. When my wife comes home, she is not the boss because she don't even want to be the boss because she done bossed out at work and she'd like to come home and let somebody else be boss. So I know you can have balance. You can be a boss, and be balanced. But you have to understand that ambition is not masculine. Courage, confidence, they are not masculine. They are traits of success. And we should all strive to be successful. What we should not all strive to be is overly dominant or assertive in the pace and the direction of our relationships and our environments. One person going to have to decide which way it's going. That's what I'm saying. So some of y'all need to tone it down. Tone it down, ladies. If two people can't do the same job. I'm going to say this and I'm going to stop. If I get on the bus and there's somebody already in the driver's seat driving the bus, I have no choice but either to kick them out that seat or go take a seat somewhere else. If you want a man to drive your bus, get out of the driver's seat. How about that?
you said that, so I appreciate the fact that you define what qualities and characteristics that you do not view as masculine. But in the general world, those are viewed as masculine traits because that's what we've been socialized to believe. While you may not, and some of the panelists may not view it that way, in the general world, that is the way. Because that's why when we are assertive, we're called aggressive. That's why when we portray ourselves a certain way, we're deemed a bitch. As a matter of fact, sometimes when we're being assertive, we're called a bitch for being assertive. So for you to say that those traits don't equate to masculinity, actually, in today's society and in the past society, those traits were considered masculine traits. You can look up traditional masculine traits and you'll see those traits listed. Confidence, courage, bravery, because women weren't expected to have confidence, courage, or bravery, or any of those things. But I appreciate the fact that you are an enlightened individual and have identified for you in particular, those are the traits you're talking about. Now, when we talk about the drive and the vision, I'm hoping that while you have the drive and the vision, that you're also taking in her input, because if you're a leader, you should also want her input so that y'all can have this together, right? You can make the final decision all you want, but at least get her input. That's all I'm saying in regards to that. But I just want to push back a little bit on where the characteristics that you define, when traditionally those characteristics were considered masculine. And it's only now that we're being gender fluid that we're now saying, hey, those are not masculine traits. And women have been saying that those are not masculine traits.
She baked your biscuits, Jay. Your biscuits.
No. Let me push back on her. Push back real quick. So you said that when women are assertive, they get called a bitch, as though bitch is what you call an assertive person. I push back because when a man calls another man a bitch, he's calling him anything but assertive.
But that's because you're using the gender norms. So when a man you're using the gender norms, even though you think you're doing nonconformity, but you're actually using the gender norms. So when you call somebody a bitch, you're insulting them because you're calling them a female dog. But when they call a female a bitch because she's been assertive or aggressive, it's because they already viewed her, the dog part is already in there, but it's like, oh, she's been a real bitch and then they'll say, oh, she got an attitude. She's been a real bitch. So I'm just saying that, yes, for men, when you call it, you basically say, oh, you like a female. But for women, when they use that term, when they say, oh, she's being a bitch, it's in a derogatory manner. It's because she's already a female, but because she's now being assertive and she's asserting herself, now she's overstepping her boundaries. And so this is a way for men to put that woman back into her place by calling her this a derogatory term that would be negative if it's called to a guy as well.
Fight back, Jay. One more time. Fight back. You got anything? Okay.
No. Let him in. Let him in. Let him in.
Let him win. No, she took that. We're not going to do that. I see you have sitting there. Tia. No.
So I speak towards this from personal experience. Just being 5'11", just being a Black woman, just being educated, just having a degree, just being from a certain area where we talked very direct and straightforward without a lot of fluff. I encounter men who, even in just general conversation, sometimes you're like, are you always this aggressive? And I'm like, am I always this straightforward? Yes, I'm a direct person. I think that the sense that being straightforward and direct or making a lot of money is masculine is shaped in a lot of things that precede us, right? Gender, social norms, relationship norms, things that people think that are masculine that women are now more than capable of succeeding at, right? Women weren't CEOs, women weren't six-figure makers and, millionaires on their own up until a certain point. And so I think that now society thinking that these things are a sign of masculinity is just kind of speaking towards that. But really, I was just going to post the other day, like a real leader doesn't have to ever ask for a woman to submit. Because when a woman submits, you're already doing it. If she's not, then that's probably not the person for you. Because if you're showing up the way you need to, it's easy for me to sink in. Because like S&M said, I don't want to go to work and be the boss and come home and be the boss too. There's a point in our lives when we choose to be in a soft girl space and we deserve to have that moment. And with our partner, that's where it should be. So instead of all the, it really boils down to insecurity. The men that I've dated, if they're shorter, if they make less money, there's an issue of insecurity and it becomes the who's the man type thing. And it's like, well, if you have to ask me, then that's the problem because I'm very clear, or else I wouldn't be with you. So I think people get it mistaken. Success does not equal masculinity. Money does not equal masculinity, but character, right? I am who I am. You're going to accept me for who I am or not because somebody else wants it. And I think that's where people fall off.
Yeah, I think the big thing that we kind of got past is it's the when I hear boss chick, I mean, I think you think of somebody that's that's disagreeable. I mean, you the assertive off of it, just disagreeable. And I don't think that may come in handy a lot of times in the business world. But if a woman's very disagreeable, it's not that she's just a boss chick. She don't like you like that. I would get the hell out of there. I think that's the bigger issue. Whether she's a CEO or a director or whatever her position is, if she really rocks with you like that, she's gonna be a complete kitten around you. That's been my experience and that's been my observation. Yeah, she doesn't like you like that. Now, can some women not know how to turn that off? Absolutely, that's a thing. Completely agree with that. But I mean, when you got her like you got her toes curling like that, she'll turn it off. Happens every time. It's crazy.
Oh my God. This is she's just because she likes you. I mean, can it be if it was all so simple then? Okay. There are women who actually like the guy and just doesn't know how to like him for real, for real. Like what training did she have in liking the guy? Is it possible there's some women who are just so used to being alone? Forget just being a boss bitch. Like some people who are just so used to being alone, they just don't know how to be with somebody else. Right? Could that be a problem? Okay, so then you add the layer of a woman who'd even call herself a boss bitch, or a woman who would see herself as a boss bitch. What does that imply? Does it entail? How does she move through the world? Is she a little bit more demanding, more curt? There's certain behaviors that I think certain types of bosses, male or female, is a turnoff for most people. Now, is it fair enough to say that some people may respect it more when it comes from a man? Absolutely. But that doesn't mean that both of them are like not distasteful to some people, if not most people. I hate my boss, et cetera, et cetera. Right? So you're trying to bring that into the context of expectations for a man. Like y'all seem to not really understand the dichotomy of a man who is trying to measure up to the man that you already think you are. Because unfortunately, let's say, for example, money is the measure of manhood to you, right? If you're already making a lot of money, there's a reason why women who make more money will never, or not never, choose to or prefer not to date a man who makes less than them. Is it possible that just by being a boss bitch and having that mentality, meaning that now your ceiling is now your floor, or your floor has now your, whatever that phrase is, right? Because you're expecting somebody to come into your life and make more than you, just simply off of economics. Because maybe you judge manhood and masculinity. It's funny how y'all talk about things that people judge for femininity and masculinity, but I think when we talk about the dating space, it seems like money, who makes more, is the reason that many of you guys will submit, right? Or recognize that power position. Even the boss bitches say that, right? Is money in and of itself a representation of masculinity? No, because women can make it too, right? But it's okay when y'all do that, right? And the funny thing is, Jay kind of touched on it a little bit, but you take one thing and then you make it something else to make your point, right? We all know people who are just disagreeable, who just think they are the boss of everything. They make it hard for people to get input, right? They think that their way is the only way, but yet you want a man strong enough to wrestle that from you. Why should he have to do that? Is this, what the fuck, is this WrestleMania? Right? Why would a man who could do that want to do that with you in particular, right? There's men who are man enough, but you just won't be man enough for you, because they don't see the value, because you haven't shown them the part. You want him to go on the treasure hunt, but he can't even see a sparkle or glimmer of the treasure with which you're guarding with your masculinity. That's what I'm hearing, right? Because you need a man to show up and pull the sword out of the rock that your heart, your femininity has become, because he's the magic savior who has been brought to you by God, who can do that. And y'all think that shit makes sense. Well, help me make it make sense to me. Right? Because I grew up in the era where it was about taming the shrew. So you're talking to a nigga who understood that. But some shrews are not meant to be tamed, right? Certain things have calcified in regards to how y'all look at your own self-esteem, to where there is no room for men to live. For the women, this is not an issue. I'm sure they're making it happen, right? But we're talking about women who identify as a boss bitch. The girl who was talking from the clip was trying to say, oh, men say they want a boss bitch, but when they get, no, we don't say that. No, we don't. We don't really care. We're the only bosses that we really need in our lives, for real, for real. We'll deal with y'all if you happen to be a boss, but as long as you know your place. Are we going to keep your will or no? The shit that gets me is that y'all be wanting to be put in your place, because that's what I hear. A man who is strong enough, who's throwing the dick down enough. But yet, your feminism says, why should I need a man to put me in my place? You're confused unto yourself. And then you expect some well-meaning, capable, thoughtful nigga who done made enough money drop a good dick off to want to deal with you, when there's plenty of non-boss bitches who know their place. And lastly, I'm going to say this, because the thing that's funny to me about this generation is y'all act like people don't know how to use femininity to rule shit. There's not only one way to rule things. There's a time, I know, it's hard to imagine. Can you close your eyes with me, shall you? There's a time when women knew how to use their feminine wiles in part with their ambition to get their way when it came to men. They didn't have to knock men over the head with how much money they're making or how many degrees they had to do that. They could drop, a handkerchief to get a man's attention. If you're not using any of those tools, right, whether you're a boss bitch or not, then how do you expect the man to pick up those choosing signals? That used to be a thing, right? So this idea that being a boss or knowing how to manipulate, or because I know how to manipulate in other ways, right? Yeah, I know how to use our femininity to get what I want in other ways. Sometimes see joy, right? But my point is that y'all act like that you can't be a boss and feminine. And I think the crux of this conversation is the fact that unfortunately men are finding, I think 67% of men are finding that women who deem themselves as boss bitches are incapable of turning that shit off when they get home. It's not a real stat, I made it up. But see how believable it was? Right? It just makes sense. It might even be higher. And I was giving y'all some grace. In fact, the fake report says 74% of women are incapable of turning it off once they've officially aligned to man bitch status. I'm going to shut up and let y'all get in.
Fake.
But y'all don't want to talk.
I'm just going to
alternative
facts. Let's make sure fake.
So much bullshit was just splattered just now. The karma of the cold is attacking you. Now you're coughing and stuff just from the bullshit you're spewing. I hate the fact that every time we talk about women in a position of anything, that we have to find a way to make them culpable and responsible for the bullshit of the man. I like the way we spin it and flip it and turn it. And listen, you can't move the goalposts and talk about from boss bitches to people who have aggressive personalities. Those are two very different components. A person is able to be a boss. I know a lot of boss men, lawyers, doctors, CEOs, big money, big wigs, who are nice people, who know how to come home and be sweethearts to the people that they love on. I know women who are the same. Why would I think that? There are certain individuals who are boss bitches who people look at like it's a negative connotation and they judge them inaccurately. They are treated differently because people approach them as if they feel they are bigger than the man they're talking to. That is an insecurity issue. That's a self-esteem issue. It is yours, not hers, that you walk into a space and feel less than. Unless you're being demeaned or belittled or made to feel that way, then you have to check in with yourself. Why, when you walk next to a boss bitch, because I don't even think that there's a woman that I know who calls herself that. We may do everything that we do, but I don't call myself a boss bitch. I just do me. I don't know people who say boss bitch. That's a man-induced term in order to kind of make us the villain in your crime story so that you can be the victims that you want Shannon Sharp and all these other nignogs to be because it sounds good to you. To us, it sounds like Charlie Brown's teacher. Walk, 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 walk. You can't tame a shrew that you don't have. Like, cut it out.
And feminine wiles are still being used to this day, as evident by the fact that we just had Shannon Sharp as our lead story being fleeced due to feminine wiles.
Yeah, that's a great example. That's them
feminine wiles.
That's today's version of feminine wiles.
Them feminine wiles apparently
Good job.
is working out for some people. But seriously though, I actually agree with what Tia said in regards to that this may be an insecurity issue, but I also agree with the fact, like I said previously when I started, that there are some women who don't know how to turn off the certain role once they get home. That's a true statement. There are women who don't know how because they're technically don't know how to switch their brain off to say, okay, now I'm at home and this is what I need to do or whatever. But the majority of women, and to be honest, I actually kind of agree. I don't even know where the hell boss bitch came from because I know, I don't know if it's because women decided that, hey, we're going to take the term bitch and call it boss bitch and this going to be us. But I don't know a lot of women who actually call themselves boss bitches. I'm a boss. I'm just saying in my circle. So I'm going to go ahead and just say my circle. I don't know a lot of women who call themselves boss bitches because I don't know a lot of women who call themselves bitches. And so that's the start.
Bad bitch. Oh, y'all.
No, I don't call myself.
This is 93.
How many women do you guys know
the bad
that call
bitch,
themselves
hold on a second, though. But the bad bitches,
everybody
not what we're
trains.
talking about. First of all, we're not going to deflect to something else, aka bad bitch, when we're talking about boss bitch.
You said you don't know women who use the word B, period.
No, I didn't say don't know the word B, period. I said I don't know any women in my circle who don't use who used the word bitch pertaining to themselves. And then I said, I don't know where the term boss bitch came from because I don't know too many women who was using it. Now, I have heard bad bitch, and I know that some words we will take and what's the word I'm looking for? We'll normalize it to somewhat take power back, like with the N word, how we say that all the time, because we claim we're taking power back. So I can see women taking power back that way, perhaps. But at the end of the day, I still don't know the who walks around calling themselves boss bitches until this modern times. And when men look at this all negatively, right? And I do agree with Delvin in regards to this. Why is there a negative connotation associated with it right off the bat, right? And with Tia, when she says, well, maybe it's because they're viewing it negatively when they first approached them. So are you now looking at this woman with negative connotations in your head because of your preconceived notions of who she may be based on how you believe the term boss bitch is supposed to be ruled?
I think the problem is this. First off, y'all can blame Melissa Etheridge for making bitch like what I'm a bitch, I'm a mother, I'm a child, I'm a lover, whatever. That was her. All y'all sang along. Everybody was cool with being bitches then. Okay, and then somebody came along like, I'm gonna be a boss. And Melissa Etheridge, she was
We don't
like
know
leading.
her. We
Somebody
don't know
know
her.
her. It's a lot of women who know her.
Come on,
That's
man.
Whatever.
pop.
My point here is
come on, man. Y'all
that
playing
yeah,
semantics.
come on, man. They semantics.
y'all.
You can walk through a mall and see people with a T-shirt that say "boss bitch" or whatever. My problem here is somehow women thought that to be a boss you had to be a bitch, and you don't. You can do one without the other. And the problem is then when you get home and you're no longer a boss because you clocked out, you haven't turned off the bitch. So I'm just gonna throw that out for the boss bitches out there. Y'all work that out. Go ahead,
Delvin. You got something else, man? Before I go, because go ahead, man.
No, I was going to say, that it is sometimes hard for them to turn it off. I'm like, ma'am, I don't work for you. I don't report to you. Like, what are we doing? Turn that shit off.
I mean, we can move on, but I just kind of feel like we just got to be honest. It's hard to be human. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. If you're a woman who's gone out there and made your career in a man-dominated field, for example, it's okay to acknowledge. We're not talking about... And what's sad is like, y'all act like these boss bitches are aplenty. They're not. Like women who should be able to call themselves that, it's a small number. The problem is there's a lot of women who see themselves as that, even if you don't call yourself that. It's the ego, it's the attitude, the I'm better than, I need X, Y, and Z. You can't tell me nothing. I'm the alpha, I'm da-da-da-da-da. Right? There's a difference between confidence and just being out of your fucking mind and delusion. You know what I'm saying? So I just kind of feel like, yeah, it was cool when women didn't have as much confidence. Now that y'all do, look at what y'all doing with it. You know what I'm saying? Look where we are now today. You know what I'm saying? I think the problem is that unfortunately, boss B or not, women are just having a hard time with accepting their place while still wanting to have a place with a man. And I think that's where the crux of the issue lies. But maybe that's just red pill conversation. I don't know. Maybe I'm just watching too much red pill content.
Too much. It's rotting your brain.
Go ahead, tell him. I mean, it makes logical sense, though. When they say it, I'm like, 2 + 2 = 4. Hey, babe, can we talk about something? But it's like, go ahead.